Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're diving into a massive, high-stakes geopolitical shift that's unfolding right now in the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea. I'm incredibly excited to unpack this with you because at the end of the day, geography literally dictates global economics. Based on our source material, we're going to explore how Egypt is rapidly building this complex network of alliances to secure its southern borders. It's basically a real-time game of geopolitical chess, with new pieces moving across the board every single day. We're going to break the whole thing down. And that brings us to the big central question guiding our analysis. How exactly is Egypt securing the southern gates of the Suez Canal? Because this isn't just about drawing lines on a map, right? We're looking at a multifaceted strategy involving military cooperation, deep economic integration, and massive logistical infrastructure. All of this is designed to protect one of the world's most absolutely crucial trade routes, which, by the way, directly impacts the global supply chain and the cost of the goods you and I buy every day, all while trying to enforce regional stability. Here is the plan for this explainer. 1. Red Sea Security Doctrine. 2. Horn of Africa Alliances. 3. Egypt-Eritrea Logistics Link. 4. Ethiopia Geopolitical Containment. And 5. Maritime Trade and Suez. Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, the Red Sea Security Doctrine. What's really fascinating here is a direct quote from Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati. He stated, "The management and security of the Red Sea will be tied to the national security of bordering states and their exclusive responsibility." Our sources highlight that Egypt is establishing a very strict red line with this doctrine. They are officially pushing back hard against the involvement of any non-bordering nations in Red Sea security arrangements. Essentially, if you don't share a physical border with the Red Sea, Egypt's stance is that you have absolutely no business being in its security architecture. Moving right along to Section 2. Horn of Africa Alliances. Now, Egypt isn't just taking a one-size-fits-all approach here. They are highly tailoring these alliances. Think of them like distinct chess pieces. With Somalia, the focus is heavily on military and security cooperation. Then you have Djibouti, where the relationship really centers around logistics, trade routes, and setting up logistical zones for East African trade. And most recently, with Eritrea, the partnership is laser-focused on maritime transport and port development. Together, these three distinct pillars form a comprehensive footprint, creating what the source describes as a ring of security. Let's look a bit closer at the Somalia deal specifically, because it was really the first major domino to fall. This agreement includes actual arms shipments and joint military training. In fact, our source notes that some observers even describe this arrangement as acting kind of like Egypt's first external military base. The explicit goal here is to empower the Somali army, ensure their sovereignty, and fundamentally stabilize the Gulf of Aden. Why does that matter to you and me? Because the Gulf of Aden is the mandatory, highly vulnerable entry point for all trade funneling all the way up to the Suez Canal. All right, Section 3, the Egypt-Eritrea Logistics Link. So this partnership with Eritrea goes way beyond just a friendly handshake. Egypt is planning a massive transfer of expertise and targeted investments. We're talking about the mining sector, transportation, pharmaceutical manufacturing, fisheries, railways, and of course, deep investment into port infrastructure. For instance, Egyptian engineering expertise is actively being tapped to modernize Eritrea's aging railway networks. This physically and economically ties the two nations together, utilizing the strategic geographic positions of both countries. Now, the crucial point is, where exactly is all this maritime transport agreement focused? Our source highlights a stark contrast made by Egyptian Transport Minister Kamal El Wazir between two major Eritrean ports. While the port of Assab is definitely in the broader long-term vision, the immediate, urgent priority is Massawa. And the reason? Pure geography. It's significantly closer to the Eritrean capital, Asmara, and critically, it's closer to Egypt itself. That makes Massawa the absolute most practical launching pad for rapid logistical deployment. And they are moving fast. This isn't just some vague agreement on paper. The transport minister laid out an immediate, on-the-ground action plan. Step 1, specialized technical teams are deployed by mid-July. Step 2, they physically assess the ports, checking dock lengths, water depths, loading capacities, just to see exactly what size cargo ships can actually be handled there right now. And Step 3, they plan to immediately begin constructing vital rail and road connections, linking the port directly to the capital, Asmara. It's an incredibly aggressive modernization push. Which brings us to Section 4, Ethiopia Geopolitical Containment. According to our source material, a major catalyst for Egypt's aggressive diplomatic push in the first place is Ethiopia's recent actions.
Ethiopia, which is landlocked, has been actively seeking a naval outlet to the Red Sea via a deal with Somaliland, which is a breakaway, internationally unrecognized region of Somalia. It's crucial to note that Egypt vehemently rejects this. From their strategic viewpoint, they consider this deal an illegal, unilateral action that completely threatens the entire region's geopolitical balance.
So, this brings up a really vital question for anyone following African geopolitics. How exactly does all this maritime maneuvering and regional encirclement affect the ongoing and highly tense negotiations over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD? Well, our source defines Egypt's strategy here as strategic deterrence. By building this ring of alliances with Somalia, Djibouti, and Eritrea, Egypt is effectively creating a new geopolitical balance. The entire goal is to apply indirect pressure to prevent Ethiopia from imposing a de facto policy on the Nile waters. Ultimately, Egypt hopes that strategic encirclement will provide the necessary leverage to finally force Ethiopia into signing a legally binding agreement regarding the filling and the operation of the Renaissance Dam. Finally, Section 5, Maritime Trade and Suez. The source text explicitly lists three overarching strategic goals driving Egypt's heavy presence in the Horn of Africa right now. First up is deterrence for those GERD negotiations we just talked about. Second, and arguably the most globally significant, is securing navigation through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and up into the Suez Canal. And third is creating an economic blockade against parallel influence. Essentially, they're protecting Egypt's economic interests by preventing direct, unilateral Ethiopian access to the Red Sea that tries to bypass sovereign state agreements. To understand exactly why securing this navigation is so critical, our source provides a pretty stark reminder. Regional stability directly protects these vital waterways from hostile forces and extremist groups. The text explicitly mentions a past incident where an Emirati vessel, which actually had an Egyptian crew on board, was hijacked near the borders of Somalia. So this isn't theoretical at all. The threats to commercial ships and the global supply chains we all rely on are entirely real, and Egypt is clearly positioning itself to neutralize those threats long before they ever reach the Suez. Which leaves us with this final thought to ponder. As Egypt rapidly deploys these technical teams, signs major military pacts, and builds out this vast logistical encirclement, we have to ask, will this ambitious strategy definitively secure the Red Sea's future for global trade? Or is it going to fundamentally rewrite the balance of power in the Horn of Africa in ways we haven't even seen yet? It is a gripping geopolitical chess match, and the next few moves will be absolutely critical to watch. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes on the Red Sea.